we can proudly say you are now fact checkers, certified fact checkers. The ball now is in your hand to practice whatever that you've been taught or what you've learned in this lesson. So let's kick off. Today our topic is mental health in fact checking and journalism. I'm called GB Moses. I'm a fact checker. I think it's not the first time we are interacting with you. Most of you, if not all of you, know me. We are going to look at what mental health is and how it affects fact checking, affects you when you're fact checking and when you're doing your journalistic work. So the topics which are covered in this module, one is what is mental health, then promoting the right to health in mental health and social services. Then topic 3 will be recovery, and then topic 4 is promoting recovery. Topic 5 will be role of practitioners and mental health and social services in promoting recovery. Yeah, so at the end of this training, we expect you to be able to have picked a number of lessons, and one of this is you must understand the concept of mental health and well-being. Another concept that you must be knowing at the end of this lesson should be explore what mental health and related services can do to promote people's health and well-being. Understand the key components and barriers to recovery. Then develop an understanding of the role of mental health and related services in promoting and supporting health and recovery. Then explore how individuals and services can respect, protect, and fulfill people's rights to health and recovery. And you should also, by the end of the training, you should also know how you as a fact checker or as a journalist, how you take care of your mental health individually. Yeah, so in this training, there are some terminologies or main terminologies that are used that you should be well versed with, or you should be knowing them, because in the general context they may be used differently, but in mental health they have a specific meaning that when someone says it, you are supposed to know which one is which or what is the real meaning of this. Nothing. I will be requesting you, let's be interactive. In case you have not understood anything, you're free to put up your hand or to ask a question. Yeah, we are supposed to be interactive in this meeting, because it's sharing knowledge and different skills. So if there's anything that you're not understanding, you're free to ask. And if there's something that you feel you should add on, you're also free to unmute or to put your hand up so that you contribute accordingly. So language and terminologies are used differently by different people in different contexts. So here, one of the terminology is psychosocial disability. This one includes people who have received a mental health related diagnosis or who self-identity with this term. Yeah. So we have another term which is cognitive disability and intellectual disability. This one refers to people who have received a diagnosis related to their cognitive or intellectual function, including dementia and autism. The term disability highlights the barriers that hinder the full participation in society of people with actual or perceived impairments, and the fact that they are protected under the Convention on the Rights of People with Disability. So the use of disability in this context does not imply that people have an impairment or disorder. People who are using or who have previously used mental health or social services refer to people who do not necessarily identify as having a disability, but who have a variety of experiences applicable to this training. The term mental health and social services refers to a wide range of services provided by countries within the public, private, and non-governmental sectors. Terminology has been chosen for inclusiveness. This one means it is the personal choice to self-identify with certain expressions or concepts. But human rights apply to everyone, everywhere. This one is like it's your choice to express or to use any concepts, but the human rights apply to everyone, everywhere, like equally. So if someone is defined as that has a disorder or is disabled or unable, it should be the same in South Sudan, in Uganda, or in any other country or any other part of the world. And then the rights should be accorded accordingly, no matter where you are. A diagnosis or a disability should never define a person. I think this one is very self-explanatory. You all know this, disability is not inability. So when someone is lame, we do not share this one is lame, he cannot walk. Because lame people walk. Or someone has mental impairment, doesn't mean he or she doesn't reason. No, it shouldn't define you. It's just a condition and shouldn't define you. We are all individuals with a unique social context, personality, goals, aspirations, and relationship with others. Yeah, so let's look at topic 1. What is mental health? Mental health, according to the American Psychological Association, is the state of mind characterized by emotional well-being, good behavior adjustment, relative freedom from anxiety and disabling systems, and the capacity to establish constructive relationships and cope with the ordinary demands and stresses of life. What does mental health mean? This is now in summary of the above definition: a sense of internal well-being. Yeah, you should be in peace with your mind. Then feeling in line with one's own beliefs and values. Like when you think that I want to do this thing, and the values that you respect, you should be in line with them. And when you want to achieve them, you have to fight and get and achieve it in peace without anybody disturbing you or someone saying, no, this is what this thing you're doing is right or is not right. Yeah, feeling at peace with one another. Mental health also means that like you have peace with yourself, within yourself. You don't have anything disturbing you. Feeling positive and optimistic about life. Challenges in life can make you sometimes feel hopeless. Sometimes when that word is used, people think they're being abused, but that's just a state of mind, being hopeful or hopeless. But now, mental health means you're supposed to be positive and optimistic about life. Whatever situation you're in, you say tomorrow will be better than today, or I will achieve this tomorrow. Mental health, we're still in the continuation of this, misunderstandings to be avoided. Mental health is equivalent to the absence of a mental health condition or disability. Mental health can be objectively defined. I mean, it can be defined differently among different people. Two people may be going through the same condition, then the other one will be disturbed, then one is at peace. you know. So you cannot say because maybe two people may be suffering from malaria as a condition, then the other one is stressed because of the malaria, then the other one is at peace. So you cannot say because the other one was at peace or the other one was stressed because of malaria, malaria brings stress. No, it is defined objectively, not subjectively. Then there are specific standards or criteria to determine what good mental health is. After seeing these conditions above, or these definitions here or explanations here, they clearly say these are standards which can help you guide to identify that this is a good mental health condition or this person is in a bad mental health condition. Yeah, misunderstandings to be avoided, still continuing. Imposing a definition or standards of good mental health that apply to everybody is problematic. Just as I said above, that mental health shouldn't be it is objective, it shouldn't be subjective. So putting that definition in all conditions to everybody is problematic. You will think everyone is fine, yet there are others who are affected and there are those who are okay. So in this case, you'll have left out those ones who are affected. Then it may be used to impose beliefs, values, and social norms on others, and or to single out people who do not conform to certain dominant beliefs, values, and social norms. Yeah, if you generalize, this is one of the impact. You will use you'll use it to impose beliefs and values on other people who do not want to go with what other people believe in. So you have to respect the other people's beliefs or social norms in order to make sure everyone receives pure mental health condition or environment. Can lead to exclusion, discrimination, medicalization of behaviors which are abnormal. Yeah, you may you may decide to conclude that everyone is okay, then you ignore everything, yet the other people who are suffering, like people who are abnormal, are being left out just because you've generalized. So such beliefs, values, and norms may include, for example, that people with a good mental health should be able to work, to get married and have a family, to deal with the high pressure, and to perform in a competitive work environment. So you'll be imposing all these things on someone because of just a belief. You think someone is in good condition or someone is in good mental health condition. These types of standards are often linked to social expectations regarding gender or social roles. Yeah, here some people are expected that when they reach a certain age or when they reach a certain state of in life, for example, when you're done with school or when you reach a certain age, you're supposed to get married or you're supposed to be married off. So you put that pressure on people's sons and daughters to get married when they're not yet ready or when they're not stable mentally. So it's not, it shouldn't be a general definition. So, as medical terms, mental health diagnosis, psychiatric diagnosis, or diagnosis of a mental disorder are used to describe patterns of experiences and behaviors that may cause distress or be seen as difficult to understand. Now, these ones are the medical terms that when someone is suffering from, or when stress or someone's mental health has been to the extreme, now that you need a medical personnel to diagnose or to diagnose so that to know the situation where you're in, because mental health is a medical condition and it's treated just like any other disease. They imply that what people experience are symptoms of a medical condition or illness. Yeah, this one means that mental health is just like any other disease, like malaria, or which can be diagnosed and treated with the medication. So far, is there any question or any query before we continue? Oh, sorry, Robert, if you are not hearing. Yes. Yes, Logur.
I was disturbed with the network. I don't know if you can hear me well, but I get you. All right. How do you solve a person who has a mental problems, and you learn it's psychological? Sometimes it understands how does that kind of person can be helped?
Okay. So you're like, how can someone with a mental health issue be helped?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. That was just what I was explaining. That mental health is just like any other disease, is a medical condition or it's an illness. So when someone has that, you can see a psychiatrist and then they diagnose your situation, then you get medication. That's one of uh, the medical conditions that can be helped, that someone can get from a medic. Then others are just behavioral conditions that you can practice. For example, avoiding being lonely, just avoid stress. Yeah. Um, Someone is asking, how is mental health related to journalism and what role does it play in journalism? We shall look at that as we continue during the course of the training. I'm sorry I cannot get your names because you didn't sign in with your name. Any other? Okay, I think we can continue for now. Yeah, we are at mental health and diagnosis. The goal is where we are going. Some people may find it useful to be diagnosed because it provides an explanation to their problems. Yeah, when you find that you have your mental health status is not as perfect as you expect, it's good to go and see a psychiatrist who will explain to you the real problem or will identify all your problems and then give you the necessary medication. Then others find diagnosis stigmatizing because because they imply that there's something wrong with the brain. Yeah, some people think mental health issues have connections with the brain. As long as you identify with a mental health issue, others think you are not going to run mad, which is not the case. Um, Diagnoses are based on a judgment about what is normal behavior. Some people receive a psychiatric diagnosis because their behavior is not accepted in their society or culture. Yeah. Some people may also find that the diagnosis they are given has a more negative impact on their life and well-being than their distress or stress can do. People choose alternative ways of thinking about their experience. For many people, what they experience may be the result of one or more traumatic events that have occurred in their lives. Yeah, when you go through a lot of trauma in the past or events that have been stressing you for so long, they can, some people relate it to the current state of their mental health. Then people may also explain their distress as coming from or being caused by a difficult context or overwhelming events. The events may be still ongoing, where you have a lot of problems that with a few solutions. So during that condition or during that moment, you're overwhelmed and your mental health is not in peace. Yeah, others find spiritual, cultural, or other meanings for their experiences. All this comes from how you think about it. That's why it's not solved by the same way. People find different solutions to their problems. However, other solutions work better than the others. So before you decide on which one to take, you're supposed to know and understand exactly where you're going is the best solution or it's not the best. Um, these alternative ways of thinking may be useful to people, helping them to overcome difficult situations or experiences. Despite this, people's refusal to accept a diagnosis related to mental health is attributed to a lack of insight by many mental health and other professionals. Yeah, lack of insight. Like this is people refuse because they think, for example, when we take the example that we had used earlier on, people think it's because mental health issues are related to brain or being like running mad. But then this is their personal thinking. It's not a professional explanation or it's not defined by any professional that when you have mental health issues, you're like running mad. So if people were exposed or if people knew the situation, they will not run away from getting medical diagnosis. Then people have the right to define their difficulties, distress, or experiences in ways that make sense to them. Yeah, this one is clear. It says people have the right to define their difficulties, distress, or experiences. They should be able to access the support they want to reach the state of mental health and well-being to which they aspire. Yeah, this goes back to also what you had said earlier on. Everyone, from all the other ways that you chose, that we shared above, everyone should be able to get support so that they access the best option. Not just because you think this one will be okay, you just go for that. It has to be helpful. It has to be the best for your situation or to what you are going to do. That's going to help you overcome the current situation you're in. Yeah. We have a question here. What helps you to enjoy mental health and well-being? The American Psychiatric Association defines mental health as a medical condition, just like heart disease or diabetes, and mental health conditions are treatable. We are continually expanding our understanding of how the human brain works, and treatments are available to help people successfully manage mental health conditions. Yeah. Yeah, Robert, I've seen your question. Why is mental health important in fact checking? We shall come to that. It's covered somewhere. Yeah, what helps you to enjoy mental health well-being? I think this one comes individually. Every one of you has a different way of handling mental health. And if, say, let's discuss it, we may take almost the whole session because we don't spend it the same way. And these are some of the examples that that we compiled for you. We will go through them at your free time. Let's go and look at other things ahead. At the end of the day, the notes already shared. So this is what you have been doing or what you're doing, either way, knowingly or unknowingly, in managing your mental health. Protecting and promoting mental health and well-being. What can negatively affect mental health and well-being? Mental health and well-being are influenced by many factors, both within our control and beyond. Social factors are crucial to mental health and well-being. Uh, these are some of the factors that negatively affect mental health and our well-being. Poverty, not having enough income to provide for basic needs. If you remember well when I was explaining above there, we said some people get overwhelmed with the current situations or whatever they're going through at that current moment. So this situation may be lack of enough resources for a particular demand. It could be sickness, your own sickness, or a person you're taking care of, but you because you don't have the money, you know, and all this comes back to you as a burden mentally. It disturbs your mental health and your well-being. Then inequality, disparities and inequalities between different groups negatively affect mental health and well-being. This one is could be in classes like economic classes or political classes or whatever class it is. You know, some people could be well economically and others are struggling, and you're all living in the same society. So these ones who are struggling, of course, will be disturbed. You can't be in peace of mind when the other party is well off. And then social isolation and loneliness. People living in communities that are not inclusive experience marginalization and exclusion. This could be people living with disabilities or even gender. Some gender is isolated, or some. It could be tribe. We go to a new environment where you're the only person speaking a particular language, so you're isolated. So all this comes back to affect your mental health. Then low levels of education. Yeah, some people, because of their level of education, they think their success has been uh, affected negatively. They are struggling because they do not have enough education. They cannot access other services like employment, or cannot even speak English in the community. So they feel this is a burden to them, and then it affects their mental health and well-being. Then rapid social change influences societal values, beliefs, and behaviors, and can affect our well-being and the way we live. Yeah, for example, currently when you look around or you move around, the elderly people will say, when they look at the young generation, they'll say uh, they have disrespected our cultures. We no longer live by the cultures, or there's erosion of cultures. So for them, the way the young people live these days can affect them mentally, or can affect their mental health because of the erosion of social cultures. Yeah. Let's continue. Emergencies. Yeah, people often face difficult situations which negatively impact them and have long-lasting effects. This could be wars or floods or droughts. You know, for example, in our country, we have a lot of these cases. Yeah, the cases of wars that have been happening in our countries, in our country, is self-explanatory. People are displaced. Other people are still living in the refugee camps. Others in IDPs. Others in uh, POCs. So all this brings affects our mental health differently, and in fact negatively. There's no way it can affect you positively, because when you're forced to leave the comfort of your home or the comfort of your country, you want to start new life, it will take you long to stabilize, if at all you stabilize. And stressful work conditions. Yeah, if your place of work gives you hard time, if your boss gives you hard time, or if your staff gives you hard time, this one all comes back to your mental health. It affects you negatively. And then in the long run, you even affects your performance. Then discrimination and other human rights violation has a negative impact on persons' feelings of self-worth, confidence, control over life, and hope for the future. I think this one is self-explanatory. Violence and abuse, important negative psychological impacts of violence and abuse. It could be GBV or child abuse, or even in the communities by the authorities or any other person. Bullying could be online or even physical. Yeah, physical health condition can present everyday barriers and challenges. Yeah, when you been okay, then maybe you get an accident or something like that, then you become a disabled from nowhere, Such conditions affect people seriously. Other people even contemplate having committing suicides after getting or after having accidents and being disabled. Inexistent or inadequate services or support. Inadequate services may worsen these problems and cause further human rights violation. So if you're going through all this and at the end of the day you can't find services for support, again it becomes very worse. Instead of if there were services for psychiatric support, someone can heal and become okay. But if they are not there, someone will be dying eternally and may at the end of the day may do what you're not supposed to do. Then what these factors can interact to affect mental health and well-being differently in different groups of people. Yeah, much as we listed them above in order, they may affect people differently. One person maybe two factors or three factors or four factors affect one person, then the others affect the other one. Even if we are going through the same condition, it is often the stigma, then negative attitudes, discrimination, and other human rights violations which have the most negative impact. This one, when we talk of stigma, negative attitude, discrimination, and other human rights violation, we see that all these come from the environment of not within the person, from the people within. So if someone is going through that, through hard condition, we are not supposed to discriminate them. We are not supposed to stigmatize them and giving negative attitudes towards them. This one worsens the situations. So if we love them, we bring them near, it gives them hope, and that even if they're going through hard time, they're still needed in the community, they're still loved, and it boosts their confidence, and reduce on the negative impacts of what they're already going through. Then human rights instruments aim to protect people from the above factors described. Yeah, human rights instruments, these ones, the police and all the other civil rights societies. They help people to overcome that. The right to health as a human right. So you're still in protecting and promoting mental health and and well-being. So this is one of, when we talk of human rights instruments, this is one of the instruments. The right to health as a human right. The right to health is enshrined in international human rights treaties and national constitutions. Was first articulated in World Health Organization's constitution in 1946. The enjoyment of the highest attainable standard of health is one of the fundamental rights of every human being, without distinction of race, religion, political belief, economic or social condition. And you remember above there we said one of the conditions that causes stress or that affects mental health is the social condition of the person. So when you're sick and you cannot afford medical services, it affects you, it further affects you negatively. So the World Health Organization is saying uh, health, right to health is a human right. So whoever is sick at any moment is supposed to have access to medication despite his condition or her condition, economically, socially, or otherwise. Yeah, the right to health is in UN instrument and treaties, e.g., Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and all these other rights. To enable achievement of the highest attainable standard of physical and mental health, governments need to ensure that health services, including mental health services, are available, accessible, acceptable, and of good quality. Yeah. In our explanations, we said everyone is free to choose where he goes or how he handles his mental conditions. But as a right, all the government are supposed to put standard mental health facilities that when people choose where to go, they go and access the recommended ones. And quality and the services should be of good quality and standard. Yeah, the right to health is also included in the Article 25 of the Committee of People Living with Disabilities. The right to health means inclusive health. Governments have duty to ensure that all people can live in optimum physical and mental health, and that no one is excluded on the basis of their disability. Continue. The right to health as a human right. The enjoyment of the right to health is linked to all the other human rights, e.g., for example, to be able to enjoy the right to health, people need to be free from exploitation, violence, and abuses, to an adequate standard of living and social protection. So we find that this is just a circle. You don't only give someone one right and you think you'll enjoy. You may have the access to health as a human right, but then when you don't have a better standard of living or social protection, there is violence everywhere or exploitation, still your mental health will be affected negatively. So conversely, human rights violations have a huge impact on mental health. If people experience exploitation, violence, and abuse, they are more likely to experience emotional distress. Yeah, and emotional distress means you're burning inside, like you are not at peace with yourself. And in our definition, we said good mental health is when you are at peace with yourself. Poor living conditions, discrimination, and no access to social protection can also have a negative impact on people's mental health. Yeah, how do you foster good mental health? Create environments and living conditions that can contribute to good mental health and well-being. We can all play a role in promoting people's mental health and well-being. Now, treat others with dignity and respect. Provide emotional support. Connect people to supports. Advocate for better environments and improved living conditions. Fight poverty and injustice. Yeah, this sounds as if you're doing it for somebody, or mainly you're helping someone not to fall in, for his or her mental health not to deteriorate. But at the end of the day, all this what you're doing will be helping you to live in an environment where everyone is at peace. So at the end, you yourself, you also be at peace. So services also have an important role and responsibility to ensure that they provide quality care and support on the basis of free and informed consent. This will promote community inclusion, autonomy, and respect for the will and preferences of the person. Institutional care is not compatible with the right to health. Yeah, the Committee of the Rights of People Living with Disabilities calls for professionals to use their knowledge, ability, and skills to create, develop, and strengthen quality services. When this is done, it means nobody is left behind. No one is discriminated. So at the end of the day, everyone is living at peace of mind. And then this one means our mental health is protected. Going to topic 2. Okay, let's me first go through the chat. Someone is answering Robert. Okay. Amude is answering Robert's question. Thank you, Amude. I would like to answer Robert. Mental health is essential at every stage of life because it includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, and act. Helps a person with mental health issues. We are supposed to listen without making judgment and concentrate on their needs at the moment, avoiding confrontations, reassure, and signpost practical information or resources. Ask them what would help them and ask if there is someone they would like to contact. Yeah, thank you, Amde. This is some of very good explanation. Any other question or any other concern? Okay, we can continue. Promoting the right to mental health in fact-checking and journalism. We will not explain fact-checking and journalism because all along from the beginning, if you've been going through all this, by this end, I know you know all these words. So what a fact-checker does and what a journalist does and what's supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. So promoting the right to mental health in fact-checking and journalism requires a commitment to accuracy, sensitivity, and responsible reporting on mental health issues. By doing so, journalists and fact-checkers can help reduce stigma, promote understanding, and improve access to mental health resources for those who need them. This one is, as you're carrying out your work, if it's a fact check, you have to look how is your fact check going to affect the person who is going to consume your information. This could be the person that spread a rumor or either knowingly or unknowingly. So the way you put out your fact check, how is it going to affect him? And how do you help him in the process? Because you may not meet him face to face at any stage, but he may come to read your article. So if he reads your article, how does he take it? How does he or she take it? How is it going to affect him? Mentally. Promoting the right to mental health and fact checking. can be done in several ways. It is important to raise awareness about mental health issues and reduce the stigma surrounding them. Journalists and fact checkers can do this by providing accurate information about mental health conditions and debunking common myths and misconceptions. Like any other medical condition, of course, there are rumors or myths or misconceptions about it. So as a journalist or as a fact checker, it's our role to spread facts or correct information in the public for them to consume. For example, someone may be going through heart condition mentally, and then him or the people around him will be like he's bewitched, because most times anything to do with the brain we associate it to ancestors, to our ancestors. So as a fact checker, you can come out and give explainers or write articles that mental health is a condition, is a mental condition, is a medical condition that can be treated. So with this, someone will decide to choose the best option and go to see a psychiatrist to be helped. So that's one of the roles that we can do as fact checkers. Then two, journalists and fact checkers can promote the importance of seeking help for mental health problems and provide information about available resources such as helplines, support groups, and facilities. Yeah. Journalists and fact checkers can ensure that their reporting on mental health issues is sensitive, respectful, and avoids sensationalism or stigmatizing language. This can help reduce the stigma associated with mental health conditions and promote understanding and empathy towards those who are struggling. Yeah, when you use this language, those people who are affected will feel like, yes, there are also people out there who know our situation and who feel for us. And then they gain their level of confidence. Or if it means seeking medical help, they'll go with the confidence, or to be easier for them to go. Then new organizations can prioritize mental health coverage and allocate resources to cover mental health topics more comprehensively. This can help raise awareness, public awareness about mental health issues and promote informed discussions and debates. Yeah, this is self-explanatory also. So tips for fact checkers to promote their mental health. Like this is now yours as a fact checker or me as a fact checker. How do I protect my mental health as I do my work? Fact checking can be a challenging and stressful job that requires a lot of mental effort and attention to detail. Here are some tips for fact checkers to protect their mental health. You take breaks. It's important to take regular breaks throughout the day to give your mind a chance to rest and recharge. This can help prevent burnout and reduce stress. Manage workload. Try to balance your workload so that you don't feel overwhelmed. Set realistic deadlines and priorities to make sure you are not overworking yourself. It's always good to have a daily work schedule or to-do list. You may decide today I'm going to do work on 5 things or 5 fact checks if you can. Then you follow them one by one. If you reach the target, that's fine. If you don't reach the target, at least you'll have known that I've done 2 or I've done 3 because of this and this. I did not manage, so I'll pick up from here tomorrow. But if you don't manage your workload, it will look too big and you'll not know where to begin from and where to stop. And then this one will disorganize your mental health and stability. So the next is related to the above. Stay organized. Use tools such as calendars, to-do lists, and project management software to help you stay organized and on top of your work. Next is practice self-care. Make sure you are taking care of yourself outside of work as well. This can include getting enough sleep, eating a healthy.
This is for doing mobile report also. Second year or third year? Fourth year.
Sorry for that.
But mobile
I can hear the voice. Oh, wait, 2 minutes.
Hello? Are you getting me now?
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
welcome back. I think
Sorry,
you're a
I
bit
don't know
dealing with
what.
that one.
Yeah, I think
Almost.
network. I'm sorry.
Yeah, welcome back, mate.
Oh, so sorry. Thank. Where did the sound go off? At what stage?
Yeah, we did not get you right.
Just continue from where you end.
Okay. I was saying the barriers to recovery, one of them is staff or families' lack of belief in people's ability to get better and claim and reclaim their lives. This is if you've gone through a lot and you're trying to recover your life, but then people around you, especially your family or your staffs, They don't believe in you. They don't believe in your efforts to get better. This one is a very big barrier. It will push you back, be like, if no one is recognizing me, then why am I struggling? Then not knowing or being informed of one's rights. If you don't know your right, if you don't know that mental health is a medical condition and you're supposed to get help from the from a medic, then you remain not bothered and not looking for the right assistance. Not being allowed or trusted to make decisions for yourself any longer. You know, some people, when someone is disturbed mentally, they'll be like, you can't reason, you cannot decide anything for yourself. And when this continues to happen, people don't find any reason as to why to keep on fighting. Feeling that one's opinion is not respected by others, mental health and other practitioners, families, and others. Others defining what they see as recovery or success, e.g., others around us having low expectations or excessively high expectations about our recovery. So, if other people define or they put goals or limits that you're supposed to have achieved this to have recovered. And then in real sense, recovery does not come in one day, or it's a process. So whatever small progress you make is supposed to be celebrated because it's a big step towards your success or the success of your recovery. But if these small efforts are not recognized, then it pushes one back. Then lack of available or accessible or an affordable mental health and social services or alternatives. If these services are not there, then it means you will have nowhere to go, you know. Yeah, as you continue, being denied or facing barriers to treatment or recovery approaches they believe could be helpful, such as counseling or psychotherapy. Sometimes the people around you will choose on where to take you or what to give you. So for you may be in need of a counselor, but they'll be like, no, these are your village people who did this to you. You're supposed to see some grandpa somewhere. And then during this, your mind is very far. You need to see a counselor, a psychotherapist to help you recover, but you're taken to a wrong place or to a wrong person. This one will also hamper your recovery. The lack of access to information, treatment and support options, psychosocial alternatives to medication. Then pathologizing normal grieving process, which can lead to unnecessary and harmful treatment. This also leads to people think they are not normal, interferes with the normal healing processes, and discourages people from feeling emotions because they are seen as symptoms of disorder. This when still signs are still low, then people will be like, no, this one is a serious mental condition, or even calling you names like you're mad. So at the end of the day, you'll be like, I'm now done. I don't need to bother myself. Negative effects of medication. There are other medication which have side effects, and it is unfortunate if these effects are negative, because much as they are working, but then when they have negative side effects, you'll either be advised to stop taking them, and then your condition will continue, or you lose interest in taking this, or it may even worsen your mental health condition. Negative attitudes for mental health and other practitioners. Yes, if the people that you're supposed to get help from have negative attitudes towards you or towards your recovery, then that's a very big pushback. The loss of trust in the mental health system and the people working in the service. If the people working in the service are not providing the necessary services as expected, and the public now lose trust in them, then even if you go there, you will have no hope of getting cured or being helped because you don't trust the system anymore. And healing comes from inside, it comes from you. First of all, you have to believe that I will be fine if I go to this and this place. Then overprotection by family, opposing discharge from the service. Yeah, when someone is in this condition and then the family is protective, kind of say our son is not in, or our son or our daughter's condition is not serious, or he'll be fine, you know, opposing what the doctors or the medical personnel are supposed to say or are supposed to give you. Being told that you have a lifelong illness that you won't recover from. This is also another dangerous word. It may sound simple, but when people keep telling you your condition is lifelong, you will never get healed, then it keeps disturbing your recovery speed. Yeah, lack of contact with other people who have gone through similar experience or who have been through a recovery process. If you have no anybody you see who have recovered from the condition you're going through, you'll have no hope. You'll be like, yeah, my condition, this is the end of it. I will not get out of here. But if the other people that you can look at and you say, okay, so and so was in this, and he went through it all, but at the end of the day he got well. Yeah, it gives you hope of recovery. Then many of these problems can be addressed through good communication and by building a trusting relationship. Building a trusting relationship requires a personal connection which cannot be forced. When this does not seem possible, efforts should not be stopped, but it is advisable to seek other persons who may be able to connect to the patient more easily. Yeah, not everyone connects to everyone like easily, even if you're not sick or whatever condition it is. So in a situation like this, you're supposed to get people who are friendly, who you connect very well to build that trust, and the person should also give the boost. They should be giving the necessary help in helping you to recover very fast. Then efforts should always be made to ensure good communication, understanding, and respect for the will and preference of the person who is going through recovery. Yeah, this one, you as the person who is recovering, remember now you're recovering, you're showing signs of getting cured. So they should give you an opportunity also to have a say in what you want or how you want to get recovered fully, because it's your life you're going to take charge of, and you should start taking charge of from that moment until you get well properly, or when you're on the road very well. The recovery approach in mental health, recovery about helping people regain or stay in control of their lives. Recovery may or may not involve treating or managing symptoms. Recovery is different from everyone. I think we have said this one before. Yeah, for some people, recovery is an ongoing journey. It may mean developing or strengthening relationship. It may involve or regaining independence, finding a job, or going back into education. Recovering might mean participating more actively in community life and activities. Recovery might also mean an absence of what are considered as symptoms. It involves redefining what people's experiences means to them. It also involves creating safe places to acknowledge trauma and ways of healing. Recovery is based on hope and optimism for the future. Hope is a core principle of recovery. You know, the essence of hope in recovery is that it is possible to live a meaningful life in the presence or absence of symptoms. You know, even if what caused the mental disorder or mental pain or mental whatever situation you're going through, the signs are still there. But if you have hope that I'll be fine, then you live by that hope, then you will recover by all means. Then central to the concept of recovery is a belief that one situation or circumstances can change, and or that one will be able to manage the situation. Yeah, you have to believe that your situation will change, or you believe that even if it won't change, I'll be able to go through it. Some conditions are persistent, or they're there to stay. But then will you stay in denial for the rest of your life? No, you have to take charge of all these conditions and live through it happily. Currently, our country is going through a lot, and its citizens are going through a lot too. So, but then we don't have to show gloomy faces everywhere you go, or we don't have to give up. We have to live through it, and we have to make sure we are happy. But no matter what it is, we have to live in the situation happily without our mental health being jeopardized. In recovery, symptoms, illness or disability to mark the end of dreams, aspirations, and possibilities. In recovery, symptoms, illnesses, or disability do not mark the end of dreams, aspirations, and possibilities. I think you get this. But if you're recovering, even if the symptoms are still there, the illness itself or the disability that came, that put you where you are, should not make you think that you are now useless or you will never recover. No, whether these things are there or not, you have to think of the future as being brighter. Then dreams and aspirations need to be encouraged and valued. Yes, whatever dream you have and aspirations you have in the current situation you're in, you have to be encouraged and valued. Then, no matter who encourages you, it begins with you. You encourage yourself, you value your dreams, and you keep going. At the end of the day, you will recover. In recoverance, connectedness is key. You have people need to be included in a community on an equal basis with the others. May involve reconnecting with family and friends or developing new meaningful relationships. Meaning and purpose are important. This just the summary of what we had in this other box up here. All this is just summarized. Everything in recovery is just summarized here. Recovery supports empowerment. Recovery also means exploring your identity. Recovery involves taking risks. Yeah, this one is important also. Taking risks can be an important part of one's recovery journey. You do something that you had never done before. Sometimes what has been tying you down, what has been affecting your mental health is maybe lack of education. Be like, I cannot get this because I don't have this particular education. But take a risk and do something different from what you've been doing. Yeah, learn a new skill in whatever way, whatever skill it is. Learn it, and tomorrow it will change your condition, and you will have succeeded, or you will have succeeded in putting down your mental issues. It's natural to take this in life and either succeed or fail as a result. This learning process is essential for living. It requires courage and creativity to support positive risk-taking to help people move forward. Recovery is holistic. This one means recovery looks at the whole person, extending to social, emotional, physical, and other aspects of life. This may involve addressing social adversities. Yeah, if you're recovering, you don't look at one thing. If your problem has been drugs, you don't only look at living drugs. No, you look at how you've left drugs, but how you're going to live if you have other sicknesses or if you have other things like work, your relation with other people, how do you do it? So it's a whole new, yeah, it's a whole new person created in you at the end of the day. Recovery also involves healing from trauma. You know, when in hard times you go through a lot, but you need to heal first so that you can recover. If you don't heal, you will not recover. Then many people have experienced trauma in their lives, and this negatively affects their mental well-being and quality of life. You know, so that's why healing is necessary. Services should provide care in a way avoid traumatizing or re-traumatizing people. This means that services must refrain from practices of violence or coercion. Yeah. Recovery approach in mental health. Recovery means being seen as a person and not just as a condition or disability. Yeah. So if you've been, let's say, mentally disturbed or you've been mad, the extent of being mad, but when you're recovering, people should not look at you as someone who was mad or who had mental disability. They should look at you as you. If you're Moses, they look at you as Moses, that they know or they knew at least. So recovery is about being seen as a whole person, focusing on one's abilities and strength, and using support when needed to achieve one's goals and aspirations. Recovery and human rights are strongly linked. You remember when we talked about the human rights as health being as one of the rights. And then all the other rights are linked to each other. So recovery should be linked to all these rights, as we had said before. The recovery approach respects people's choices and supports them in living fulfilling lives. This is also important. Recovery, respecting all human rights is essential to implement a recovery approach. In turn, adopting a recovery approach helps to uphold human rights. You know, respecting all human rights is essential to implement a recovery approach. In turn, adopting a recovery approach helps to uphold human rights. Let me hope you understand this statement. Yeah. Recovery, for each of the two outcomes, explain how recovery was not promoted. Yeah, this could be a kind of an exercise, but due to time, I think you also do it at your own time after the lesson as you go through the notes. Yeah, let's continue and finish the slides because the time is also not on our side. What supports recovery? It's not up to mental health and other practitioners, families, or others to decide what a person's recovery will look like. This must be the decision of the person who is going through the recovery journey. Yes, nobody should decide how it should look like, but you should have a goal yourself. And you should want how your life should look like when you get recovered. So your family or the practitioners or every other person should help you gain that goal or should lead you in that direction. Then the role of others is to support people in the best way possible along their recovery journey. Key components of effective support include using good communication skills, active listening, using positive messages, focusing on hope, etc. Understanding and acknowledging that the person is an expert by experience and that this expertise is as valid as the skill and expertise of the practitioners. What supports recovery? Still going, recovery and social inclusion. Taking part in social, educational, training, volunteering, and employment can support individual recovery. Services should empower people to move forward and regain or create their place in the community. We all have a role to play in fostering inclusion and openness, and as such, support people's recovery. Yeah. Recovery plan. A recovery plan is written and implemented by a person to guide them along their recovery journey, regain or stay in control of their life, and find meaningful and purposeful, meaning and purpose in life. Remember when you said everything to avoid mental health, as a fact checker, you're supposed to have a plan, for example, at work, and that plan should not end at work only. So here we are saying when you're recovering, you're supposed to have a goal. Then you're supposed to design a plan on how you're going to achieve those goals. Then you design those plans very well. Then everyone around you helps you in finding meaning and purpose in life. A recovery plan can be a useful tool to support a person to work out a direction and steps for moving forward in life. Helps a person to get the support of important people in their life if they wish to do so. For example, if someone has a plan in life, want to achieve a thing or two, you can say, I think so and so can help me. Then you approach that person to help you on that, how to achieve the goal. So when the person look at this plan, then he'll be like, yeah, now this person is on course, he needs my help, and then you'll get the necessary help that you'll get. A recovery plan is a potential tool for people to use in their recovery and not an end in itself. It should not just be something that you use to reach where you want, but after that, it will help you in your life after you have achieved your goal. Some people may find it more useful to have support and build connections at the moment and may not need a plan to achieve their goals in life. Yeah, some people will need a network of good people who will help them even when they don't have a plan or a recovery plan, but still they have a direction. You don't just have to look for connections or people when you don't have a direction. It will not work. Yeah. What does a recovery plan look like? A recovery plan outlines the person's own goals in life. Yes. The plan outlines how the person will work to achieve these goals. The plan is driven by the person concerned and reflects their choices, will, and preferences for support and care. It may include a personal plan for dealing with the distress. A recovery plan may also include an advance directive about care and treatment. Yeah. So we are coming to the end of this. We have come to the end of this. Before we go to the end, I have a question here for all of you, or due to some time, maybe at least some of you will answer. So the question is, what are the 3 key points that you've learned from this session? It may not, all of us may not have learned the same thing, but are you not still seeing my screen? Okay. Yeah, the question is, what are the 3 things? You can even write them in the box, write them in the chat box. What have you learned from this today? You might have learned more than this, more than 3, but at least only 3. Okay. So you did not learn. But are you getting me? Is everyone getting me? Okay. In the interest of time, let's conclude the training with these remarks. Mental health, well-being and recovery are inherently personal. You know, these are inherently personal. These are you are in charge of your mental health and your mental being and even recovery. Nobody will come and take care of them for you. You have to be the first person to take control of them. The respect for human rights is key to protecting mental health and well-being and promoting recovery. Stimulating the development of fair and inclusive communities is an essential but neglected part of supporting mental health and well-being. Individuals and services can do a lot to support people along their recovery journey. These are some of the points that summarizes our training today. Yeah, I'm done for today. If there's any other person with a question or a remark before we conclude, you are most welcome. This is the time. If there's if there's no one, Bida, if you have something, you can add on, and we call it a session or training. Oh, okay. I've seen some of the answers. Mental health, Rogers is saying mental health is a collective responsibility. Anyone's mental health can be affected, yeah. Yeah, Robert, concerning the individual completion report, you can sign, on a paper, then you scan it, then you insert it on the report as the signature. Any other? Well, if it's done, then thank you for your time, and thanks for dedicating all this month for this training. Today marks the end of all the lessons. Let me hope all of you have worked on your individual reports and the assignments, because on Thursday it's going to mark just going to have the end of the training. And as a tradition, as you're told from the beginning, that whoever doesn't finish the assignments and the individual report will not get the certificate. So to avoid any inconveniences, it's better we use these 2 or 3 days to finish our reports and we submit them as soon as possible, so that after Thursday we all get our certificates as fact checkers. Okay. All right, guys. We meet on Thursday, and enjoy your evening and take care, everyone.